everybody, and welcome to exciting. What? No baseball season? Hang on, I'll get Sam. Hello?
Hey, Sam Bush.
Hello?
How's it going, man?
Is this my friend Billy?
Yes, and how are you?
Doing great. Sunny day and everything going well.
It is a nice day. And it was really nice yesterday, man. I think I'm going to get my bicycle out.
You get your bicycle out, and I'll be pacing you right behind you in my car.
Yep.
I'll be right behind you.
Yeah, man. So you guys just been kind of hunkered down like everybody else, I assume.
Well, we have been, yeah. We were out and we had a really good band trip, Sam Bush Band, back in March. At the end of February and March, starting where you go through St. Louis to Kansas to Colorado and Park City for 3 nights, and then Avon, Colorado, and Fort. So our last job was March 10th in Fort Collins and Colorado. And then by the time, on the way home, we were traveling by bus. So on the way home, we stopped in Kansas City to let the bus driver sleep. And before we left Kansas City, Wes Corbett, our banjo player now, he called us all up and said his wife says there's a toilet paper shortage in Nashville. You want him to pick some up for everybody? So Wes stocked us all. And so thanks to Wes Corbett, we're all still stocked. And but anyway, yeah. So we got home on the 12th of March, and I got home, in the morning. And by the time I took a nap and got back up, show business had started changing, and along with, of course, the rest of the world, as far as us starting to get our jobs canceled and what have you. So, yep, we're all hunkered down here in the west part of Nashville, but as we've fortunately been able, that's the fortunate part, that we got home, that we weren't stuck somewhere. And I've heard, and I know other people that, a few people I know still are we're out of the country anyway, and they still are. So,
wow.
So it's I'm glad we're all home and everything's going well.
Yeah, Royal, our bass player, he was in Amsterdam kind of when all this shit went down, and we called him up and was like, you better get your ass back over here before you're not able to.
No kidding, yeah.
So he got home safe, and yeah, everybody's doing all right, but it's been a hell of a year so far, and yeah, wow. Nashville got hit with a big-ass tornado, which was like a couple blocks from my house. Was that over by you guys at all?
No, it wasn't. And we were on our trip in Colorado when the tornado hit, and everybody, all our houses and households in our bus and the band and everything, we all fared well. So that was, but yeah, I mean, that all occurred, and then that's where your heart really goes out when you need social distancing, and the people are still trying to rebuild from a tornado, and really dealing with it. So it's a double whammy for those folks.
Yep. I've just been sitting around playing guitar. I got this new little OM size Thompson guitar that it's been a good pal of mine so far on this quarantine thing.
You probably have quite a few Thompsons, don't you?
I got 3 of them now.
A few to play on.
Yeah.
One of my joyful things has been, as old as I am, I never owned a Martin D28. Never had a D28. Always wanted one. And I've got a D35, got a 0028, and so there was one that an old friend of mine, Clayton, my buddy, he bought this guitar new in the '60s, and I'd been wanting it for 50 years, trying to buy it, big time trying to buy it from him for the last 20. And but he didn't, not playing it much anymore, so he finally called me last fall and said, it's time for old Bessie to have a new home. And so got the neck reset, the new bridge, braces fixed, frets done, and so I'm enjoying sitting around playing on this beautiful D28. And it's the kind that has been rode hard and put up wet, but
yeah.
Boy, it sounds great. And so that's just a joyful thing. And I've been part of a few things video-wise I could participate in. I was part of a Music City Roots presentation that was shown on the 23rd last week, and just yesterday, a video came out from the city of Louisville that I was asked to be part of, called a song called "Lift Up Louisville." And so Jim James from My Morning Jacket's the lead singer on the track. He's from Louisville, and so anyway, it was just a song of inspiration put together by Teddy Abrams, the great orchestra, the conductor of the Louisville Orchestra, and so I was part of that. So there's been little things I've been getting to be part of. If you look on my Facebook page, every Friday, during the coronavirus, my mind turns, of course, to what would Jethro say. So we have a Homer and Jethro's Corner every Friday where I sing a Homer and Jethro song. So trying to introduce the world to the politically incorrect world from the 50s and 60s of Homer and Jethro, where yeah, their subject matter, although clean, not politically correct all the time. So, and then I'm sitting there playing Jethro's Old Mandolin. So, it's just fun little things to try to keep. And hey, if it takes people's mind away for 10, 15 minutes from their troubles of the day, then great.
Yeah, that's kind of what my goal with this thing was. Is just, hey, I'm just gonna give some friends a call and chat, bullshit for a minute. And I don't know, I think some folks that listen to our music might enjoy hearing that and hearing, how we're doing, how you're doing sitting there at home, and, what you've been working on, thinking about. Have you heard all the theories, and are you,
Yeah. Well, I was talking with Chris Brown, our drummer, a couple of weeks ago about this, and, I was just saying, man, when you think about it, forget professional applications, don't like forget about playing jobs or making a record, being in a studio, whatever. But this is like the longest any of us won't have congregated with someone since we started learning our instruments, because that's the joy. It certainly is for me to sit around and play together.
Yeah.
I don't care to be a solo performer. I've had those opportunities.
Man,
and it's, it ain't what rings my chimes. It's playing with other people. Hell, I love to play rhythm.
Yeah.
So I'd rather play rhythm than lead. So boy, if you think it don't get old sitting around playing rhythm for yourself, but I was telling Chris, but this is just the longest, because it is a giving thing. It is an expression of love with each other. The act of playing music, and I love that part of it. And shoot, when we're playing on stage, I mean, it's just like when the band's all hitting together at the same time, that's when the joyful moment for me is, and hopefully the audience is in on it too. But it starts with us, and so that's what I'm missing, is to sitting in a circle playing music, because especially those of us that grew up playing acoustic music, that's the way you do it. You just sit down in a circle. What later would be a novel idea to some people, right? We grew up with a fiddle and a guitar sitting across from each other, and so it's I look forward to getting to be to that spot, because we'll get there.
Yeah, and it's like, shit. I mean, you're a road dog, man, and have been for I don't even know how many years, and it's kind of crazy. I mean, this is the longest I've been home in the last 10 years.
Oh, this is longer. This is the most. I mean, Lynn and I are, a heck of a married partnership here, and she's the money manager and our business manager, the accountant, and so we work together within this business. But even at the same time, back, we started traveling together in 1983. And this is the longest both of us have ever been home together at the same time.
Are you going crazy yet?
No, I mean,
it's actually pretty nice, ain't it?
Well, it's really great. I mean, we're trying to remember all those times if you've ever been on the road a little tired and burnt out, and when you're thinking, God, wouldn't it be great to not do this, to not travel, or if you're, I mean, maybe you've had this thought of, God, wouldn't it be great to have your weekends off like a normal person?
Yeah,
And then,
have a...
and then after you think about it about 20 minutes, you go, nah.
No.
So, but I mean, I love getting, I'm not sure. I know what I miss the most is, just the music, just the playing music together. This past weekend, I must admit, when Merle Fest would have been going on, and I would have been at Merle Fest, never having missed one yet.
Yeah.
And watching the Waybacks posted their Hillside set on Saturday afternoon, so I sat and watched the whole thing, and oh my goodness, it was emotional. It was, I just enjoyed watching it and just thinking. That's the thing, especially like when getting to Merle Fest. That's where I get to see everybody after we've all had the winter time. It's kind of like the buds are opening up, the spring is springing, and we're all, getting to say hello to each other. And so that part I sure missed over the weekend.
Yeah.
And that happens at a lot of different festivals that we all get to go to. You see people that you may only see once a year, that you're glad to see them, and that's part of looking forward to getting to go back to that festival now.
Yeah, and so, now you just might have to wait till later on, or probably next year for a lot of the festivals.
Sure.
This morning, I woke up this morning and smoked a little bit and turned on YouTube, and I watched what would have been maybe a set that you played at your 45th Telluride Bluegrass Festival, and I, watched some of that set this morning on YouTube, and kind of just got me excited to listen to some of your music. And man, but
I'm gonna have to check that one out too. Well, I was incredibly inspired during that set because I didn't know if I was going to get to Telluride last year. I had a health scare in May in St. Louis, and I had abdominal surgery and stuff, and so Telluride, it as it turned out last year, crazy as it is, we had played at Merle Fest, and then I didn't play music again on stage till Telluride. So I had my 7 weeks off last year that was unplanned. So that first setback at Telluride, I was just having an emotional experience. I mean, it was it was I didn't know if I'd get there. It was emotional, and even as I was playing, Lynn, well, I think Lynn had paramedics standing by, but because I wasn't, totally, I was still kind of weak, but it all worked out, and so. So having gone through having gone through a health scare last year, maybe that's how I can sit here and be kind of calm about this, somewhat calm, and just in that I'm doing okay, but I sure have empathy, sure have incredible empathy for people that, all of a sudden might get the rug pulled out from under them. And,
yeah. Yeah, and
so
I think just about everybody has had the rug pulled out. At first.
Well,
I was thinking,
we certainly have.
I was thinking about all the musicians, but I mean, it's just everybody. I mean, there's certain stuff that's still open. In Nashville, I mean, I go out and take my car around the block and stuff, and I see people in the park, and I see, action. I think maybe up in Michigan and stuff where I'm from, it's a little bit more locked down. I think they're getting a little bit hit more harder with it and stuff. So I'm not sure what it's like in other places, but
yeah. And who knows, and of course we don't know the answers. We don't know the answers yet. So it's
just kind of waiting it out, man, and hopefully everybody can figure out how to survive during this time.
Yeah, one thing about social distancing is helping, and so, but yes, those of us that make our living by subliminally asking people to congregate, it's not subliminally, you're asking them to congregate and come here you pick, and so those of us that depend upon gathering of people to make our living. We got to be pretty patient.
You know what's strange, dude, is yesterday I looked at this photo. Well, a picture of, one of the photos that Dylan took of us at Red Rocks, and there's this big, huge crowd. And any other time I would look at that and be like, oh, look at this amazing photo. This awesome photo. And it almost kind of makes me cringe right now seeing all those people together. I'm like, just like, oh, shit, I don't even know if I want to post that because you remember what that was like.
Yeah, gosh, I know, and of course, me. I've been known to sit at Telluride and do a 3-hour meet and greet, and well, I guess we'll have to take our 6-foot pictures now. But I mean, and so I guess certain things about our routine are bound to change. But for starters, the challenge is getting enough testing for us to know how we can next proceed.
Yeah, and also just, trying to stay sane and happy and healthy while we are just kind of waiting it out. And I've been messing with my cars and stuff and getting my hands kind of dirty in that sense, like working on cars and trying to get into some other stuff. I started dicking around with my skateboard again. I did take your advice and got some elbow pads.
Yeah. Don't be cracking that radial head. Take it from me. You don't want cracked radial heads. Well, for us, I mean, we it's funny. Lynn's got a great phrase of "we Forrest Gumped our way into this one," which is we Forrest Gumped our way into the fact that we finally got this house we've been living in 21 years. As we will. It's not just a joke to say, we're finally moving in. So we finally got the whole place fixed up all at once. We're talking landscaping and crawl space encapsulations, new ductwork, plumbing, you name it. But all the rooms are fixed up at once. And it all got done like right at the 1st of November. And so then we went through the house picking out things now what we'd like to have on the wall, wall hangings and artwork and just incredible photography stuff we have collected over the years. So we saved up and it's all in a framers. And that's hung up. It's going to be at the framers for a while. But hey, so we're fortunate that the house is all fixed up, that we can enjoy being in it, and that's where we're at. So, and with fixing up our house, we got all this great landscaping done within the last couple of years. And guess what? When you make all these nice looking plants and landscape, you got to pull weeds all the time.
Yeah, you got to tend to it, man.
So that's what I'll be doing later. It's weed pulling time. It's a nice sunny day.
That's good. It's good for your soul.
Now I know why Del McCurry likes to mow the grass so much. He told me sometimes he writes a song. Yeah. So sometimes he writes a song while he does it. Well, just the other day I took my iPod and a portable Bose speaker out there and listened to early Doc Watson, and it was a great afternoon.
Absolutely.
Hearing the joy in Doc Watson's voice when he first started playing music for a living, and he wasn't selling pencils on the streets anymore. That's a joy in his voice. If you ever hear that live at Gertie's, folks, you listen to Doc and
oh man, there's some good
listen
stuff.
Listen to the joy in his voice of him.
Some of that finger style stuff he did on that, like Blue Smoke, was so great. Just amazing. He really listened to a lot of that Merle stuff and had that stuff down.
Oh, totally. Yes, wonderful finger picker, and a thumb and one finger.
I know. Yeah.
Doc.
Some of the crazy.
Merle Watson was the fancier finger picker of the two. Of course, Doc's timing is the most hammer-like.
Yeah, but Merle definitely had that flavor, man. That John Hartford flavor.
And listening to Ed the other day, listening to the couple of tunes where Merle was on the banjo. Well, he wasn't really a bluegrass banjo player per se, but what he did, it was just fit like a glove with Doc. It's just amazing how the play and how it went.
So I know there's was that Merle on that tune that they called Russian Grass?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's on. Yeah, and by the way, that was a tune originally done by the Greenbrier Boys. I think.
Huh.
I think Bob Yellen wrote that. The banjo player for the Greenbrier Boys. Yes, that's one where Doc yells, Look out, Khrushchev." Is that the one? Well, there was one record that came out years ago, and it was originally just a tape of Doc and Merle sitting and playing at Doc's house when Merle had learned to play the banjo some. They called it Merle's first banjo.
Oh wow.
Or I can't remember if that's what we called the record. But anyway, so then T. Michael Coleman took those tapes, came to Nashville, overdubbed Michael's bass on it. Me and Marty Stewart. I would play fiddle and mandolin, and then Marty played the mandolin, so I played fiddle on some of it. So it was me and Marty overdubbed on the record with Doc and Merle, and Michael and Marty and I overdubbed on that record. So I can't remember what they ended up calling the record. It's on the Sugar Hill thing. I'll have to figure it out. And we were calling it Merle's first banjo at one point, but they did that one, that Russian thing, and Doc jokingly yells out, "Look out, Khrushchev!"
Yeah, man. I really enjoy digging deep into all that stuff. Obviously all of it. I listen to a lot of John. A lot of John. The other day I was driving driving my Chevelle around. I've been doing that a bit, just kind of cruising around. I hit the Natchez Trace and go for a cruise or whatever. But
Yep.
I was driving up towards Madison and stopped up there and visited John's grave and sat there and sung a song just kind of all by myself and listened to the birds chirp for a moment and hung out and just kind of paid my respects and then continued on. But I sang that song today,
which is one of his most beautiful ones, for sure.
Yeah, man, it's just, God, I love that song. And some of those early stuff, yesterday, I think you'll appreciate this. I just picked up my banjo. I got one of those Bela baritone banjos.
Uh-huh.
It's like a low C. And I love playing that thing. It's cool. It's got big, thick strings on it, and it's just fun. So
I've got one of his borrowed right now. Yeah. I have one borrowed.
Yeah, those are fun. But I started, I was like, I was thinking of No End of Love, and I was like, man, I just feel like playing that song right now. And I pulled up the lyrics, and I started playing it and singing it. And by the time I got halfway through the first verse, I had so many tears in my eyes I couldn't read the lyrics. And
yeah,
it's just, that stuff hits me so hard like that. I mean, the romance and the just pure love that, just comes gushing out of those words that John wrote,
Yeah, seeing patterns to some faded wall, confused about a simple thing as love. Yeah, that one's got the line. Without you, I'm a child who sucks the vacant thumb of emptiness, left crying when he has not had enough. Whoa! What? Yeah, when John was writing those kind of things, and I can't remember if I told you about this. I got a buddy in Florida at Central Square Records down at Seaside. And I just got a shipment from him yesterday. I ordered my CDs from him. I still buy CDs. I've never bought music digitally yet, right? So I bought some CDs. But we were looking in the catalog when I was down there last fall, and there's these John Hartford records that I've never seen or heard of. There was like three. I can't remember if it was three or four of them. 4 maybe CDs. I got a long cord here. I'm trying to accommodate this.
I think you did mention this to me at some point.
They're just called the Chronological Classics, and it starts in 66, so there's 66 or 67, 67, 68, 68 through 69, and it's all the songs he recorded on RCA, all of them. It's just that no albums are identified. There's no information about anything on printed on the jackets or something. And it's not an American release, so I don't think this was sanctioned by the Hartford family. But it's great, man. I got all these great John songs on CD, and because I have a turntable, but I don't always find myself putting the records on. But I bought all his old RCA records down at the Ernest Tubb record shop when I was a boy.
How did you run into him originally, and how did you become friends?
Well, I was, I grew up in Bowling Green, where we had Nashville TV reception. If my dad had if he climbed on the roof and pointed the antenna the right direction for different channels, and different time, kids. And anyhow, one time and we had these Saturday afternoon half an hour. I now know they were syndicated shows by different country music Opry stars. So in other words, the Wilburn Brothers had one, Porter Wagner had a show, Flat Scruggs had a show, Ernest Tubb had one, Bill Anderson had one. And I think that's the 5 that would be on every Saturday afternoon. So that was really great. That's what we did from 4 o'clock till 6:30 every Saturday. And so in the Wilburn Brothers, once their show was a guy singing with a banjo, and I remembered his name was John Hartford. And I remember thinking, why didn't he play the guitar? I never saw anybody sing with a banjo. And so my dad and I we'd come down to Nashville and come down to Grand Ole Opry. And I go shopping at the Ernest Tubb record shop, and there was this record I said, that's that guy I saw on the Wilburn Brothers show. I bought the album. And the album was Earth, Words, and Music. And so that's the one, it includes Gentle on My Mind on there. And so I started digging into these songs, and so I'd go down to the Ernest Tubb record shop, and there'd be a different John Hartford record, and I'd buy that one. And before I knew it, I was buying them all. And I had all the ones on RCA, except I had never seen the original one, the first one, John Hartford Looks at Life. And he gave me that one time years ago. And then Iron Mountain Depot, Alison Brown gave me that one a number of years ago. I hadn't been able to get that. I couldn't afford to buy Iron Mountain Depot. I was 18 and broke when it came out. But the way I met John was simply that in 1971 we were the Bluegrass Alliance, and the band was Ebo Walker on bass, Lonnie Pierce fiddle, Courtney Johnson banjo, Tony Rice guitar, me on mandolin. So I was 19, Rice was 20. And we went up to Bean Blossom and played at Bill Monroe's Bean Blossom Festival. So we got on the festival, and also on the festival was John Hartford, with the first time any of us ever saw. Now, I knew Vassar Clements already, but and the first time any of us ever saw the Aeroplane Band play together. Now, they didn't carry a bass on the road. There was only just the 4 of them. But John, Vassar, Tut, and Norman. So they played, I can't remember if they did 2 days. But those guys, they jammed nonstop at the campsite they were at. They must have been on a bus. I don't know. And jamming. And then when they played their set that night, it was just knock me over with a feather stuff. It was incredible. And when they did good back in the good old days, Vassar played his fiddle for probably at least 3 minutes by himself at the end of the song. It was just majestic. And Norman Blake was pounding rhythm like a god. And, it was just something. It was really something. So I met him at that Bean Blossom in 71. And we ended up jamming a lot that weekend. And then we ended up, staying in touch and jamming with John over the years. And through John and the band Red, White, and Bluegrass, we ended up with the same booking agent in Denver called Athena. And later to become Stone County, which was run by Keith Case. And so Keith was managing John and us and the Dillards. And so we ended up playing an awful lot over the years, for sure.
Yeah, a lot of great recordings of all that stuff, you can find, and I'm sure going.
There's actually, and at one point, we all knew each other, and they'd call me to do stuff. One time they called me up, come down to Nashville, and I played on a session. I was the bass player on an aerial plane band session, and
Oh, yeah.
that night I noticed they weren't cutting any of John's original songs, but I was playing bass. We cut a couple of Blake originals. And, and Norman didn't even have he wasn't wearing headphones, so he couldn't hear the bass. And I remember he told me, he goes, "Oh, I like going in here in the playbacks. I think what you're playing is real good, Sam. I just don't like the damn sound of electric bass." so so yeah, and those came out. A few of those songs are on record Tut put out a few years ago called Flatpicking in the Kitchen. So any of them that I'm credited playing bass on, it's the aerial plane band that we cut them. We cut Banks of the Ohio. Norman sang Little Bessie in the key of G. A few things. Norman had one called The Electric Telephone. Telephone a hippie now, dial one up this week. See if you can get together with your local freak. I can't remember the next line. The next line started with Alexander Graham Bell, and but then you go, and because you can piss off people with your electric telephone. He didn't like talking on the phone.
Oh man.
So I was fortunate, just old enough to be a fly on the wall and watch a lot of great picking go on.
Yeah, man. You've been doing it for a while, and you're still kicking ass. It's really inspirational, man. I've had, I'm sure just like you've had moments with people who you've looked up to, and, getting to play with people like that and just kind of growing up, especially when you were younger and eager and stuff, man. I've had,
Absolutely.
Moments like that with you on stage where I'm always paying attention, especially a couple years ago when I first kind of arrived, I guess, on the scene and started seeing you guys and Del McCurry and all these guys, and I was just really taking notes, not only about the music, but just every single thing, and I think one of the biggest things that I've ever learned from you, and I've told you this before, but I just wanted to mention it again, was some kind of bullseye focus that you have on stage really rubbed off on me when we were at John Hartford Memorial Festival, and there was about 20 people on stage with us.
Yeah, we were in a jam.
Yeah, we're playing Roll On Buddy, and I went up to the front of the stage and took my little break or whatever, and then I came to the back and figured, oh shit, I already took my break. I might as well just have a sip of my beer or whatever. And you were standing right next to me, and as soon as I stopped playing and grabbed my beer and went to take a swig, and I looked over and saw you with your eyes closed. You're way to the back of the stage too. You had already played your break, but you had your eyes closed and you were playing the shit out of the rhythm to this song, and with so much intention and so much like respect for the song that itself. I felt like such an idiot. I was like why do I think that I could just stop playing right now and take a drink of my beer? And it just hit me all of a sudden. It's like, dude, we're on stage right now. Like, we're playing a song. Can you at least have enough respect for the song itself to, not just stop playing it to take a drink of beer? Focus, man. Like, give the song a little bit of respect. And that really hit me. And so every time, a lot of times when I walk on stage, I try to think that. It's like, okay, don't lose focus, Don't be up there thinking about oatmeal raisin cookies and shit.
Right.
When you're trying to remember the lyrics, don't be thinking about other bullshit. Like, think about the song, think about the emotion, think about the rhythm, think about the timing, think about, but don't just neglect the song while you're right in the middle of it.
No, that's the best way. And yeah, I understand that feeling, and I thank you for that. And
that was a huge lesson.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like it also goes along with, backing each other, and being there for each other, supporting each other. It's kind of okay there. Then and there must be enough Bill Monroe in me to, you've got to give a man good rhythm now, Billy. You've got good rhythm going. But I've always felt like if I'm what I'm good at is something you can't put your finger on or figure out how to do it, which is when my job, and it especially includes me in my band. But my job is that when I'm playing, everybody else sounds better. That's the way I want to. That's how I want to affect the music, So hopefully that means I'm helping with the rhythm and giving you a bed to solo over. So that's what I like to feel like. If I'm playing, you play better.
Well, Bela once told me, he was talking about, Newgrass Revival and how he was, had been playing with you for so long, and he mentioned, he was like, I was playing with Sam for so long, and then we sort of split up, and I started playing by myself and with other people and stuff, and, before the Newgrass Revival sort of, split up and stuff, he was like, man, I thought I was so good. I thought my timing was so good. I felt so great, like I was a good player. And then as soon as he wasn't playing with you anymore, he's like, I felt like my timing sucked, and I just felt like I sucked, and it was Sam.
I never heard that. No, not from him.
That's what he told me, man. He said that, like playing with you, it was always so solid, such a solid rhythm, and and that sort of thing, to where, then you go and start playing with some other folks, and it's like feels more wobbly, or feels, oh shit, where's this going? I understand what he's talking about, but yeah, he said that, so maybe he would never tell you that to your face, but
yeah, it's better that he doesn't. I'll get to taking it for granted, then I'll start speeding up again.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh man, well I love you, dude. I miss you, and I hope
I love you.
Hope you're hanging in there. I can't wait to pick with you again, and
yes, we certainly shall. And by golly, I just can't wait to pick with you. And again, those of us that need a crowd to make a living, we just got to hunker down and be patient. And it's not an easy thing to do. We're all used to being active and traveling, and so I think if anything, this helps me realize that sometimes I don't get grouchy about traveling. It's just it doesn't thrill me. But now now I'm sitting, as we were just talking about, the longest you've been home, this and that. And I was just thinking, like I was watching an old baseball game on replay a couple of days ago, just thinking, hell yeah, I'd like to be in Chicago right now, digging it out. Lord, yes, I'd like to be in Denver at Coors Field watching a game. Like to be in St. Louis watching a game. Love to be picking at Merle Fest. Love to be going to Telluride. So yeah,
we're lucky.
So and you were talking about how long I've been doing this. See, I didn't want management company to make a big deal out of the fact that this year is my 50th year to do this. In August is when I started playing in 1970. I started playing with the Bluegrass Alliance a couple months out of high school in the August of 1970. So yeah, I've literally been in the business 50 years.
Yeah,
it's hard to believe. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
but well. On my brain I'm 17, so I don't know.
Yeah, I know that. Well, I love it, man. I love hearing the stories and everything. Anytime I get to spend with you is cherished, and especially the music, and man, thanks for taking the time to chat this morning and stuff. And
Thanks for the chat, Billy, and let's all hang in there and keep on loving each other.
Yeah, man. All right, well, as soon as we're able to, come out and about again, I'll give you a shout, and maybe we'll get together and pick a few or something.
Yes, let's do.
All right.
I'm ready.
Yeah. All right, well, you have yourself a good day, Sam.
Okay, Billy.
All right.
Take care, bro.
Bye.
Wow. How about that? Words of true wisdom from the one and only Sam Bush. Thanks to Sam for taking the time to chat with us today. Look forward to the next time he and Billy get on stage together. I bet it'll be a barn burner. Tune in next time when Billy will be calling another legend, Mr. Jerry Douglas. I had the privilege to meet Jerry last year during the home recording session. Man, what a funny guy. I can't wait to hear his take on the world right now. For now, take care of each other, take care of yourselves. We'll be back real soon. Bye now.